I hope you understood with this. Okay, Venkat Sharma is will invalid email. Invalid email, sir. You please send us to separately to me, either me and or Mr. Naresh. Prasun Divedi wanted to have two questions. So what are those?
Yes,
Can
sir.
I connect?
Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello. Good morning, sir.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Your voice is very low, so could you please increase your voice?
Just a minute, sir.
Introduce yourself first.
Sir, I am an ASO working in Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizers.
Yes.
Sir, I wanted to ask when you mentioned about the third-party patching. Suppose I don't have much knowledge about coding. Okay. So if I install a third-party patch, how can I be sure that some additional malware or phishing software is not being installed with it? Because I can't properly examine the change logs. So how can I protect myself against that?
So that's what I suggested is that when you are implementing third-party patch, you need to test on your systems, testing systems. See, basically what we recommend as part of security when we edit anything. So first thing we ask that, how do we patch? See, they says that there is we just directly connected to Microsoft. Microsoft will update. There is a Microsoft update server is there. From there, automatically patches. So I understand because the organizations doesn't have as many as people to maintain such things. They might be automated. But this is okay for the when you are looking about the desktops, when you're looking for the internal systems and etc. But when it is a public IP, we always look into that. Whatever we are sharing public server, we need to look about that. There could be a staging server also. That means, see, that patch is not same for every Windows server. Why? Because you have taken one Windows server, I am taking one Windows server, but you have implemented different application, I implemented different application. Server operating system is same. Operating system is same Windows only, but your application is different and my application is different. When two different applications are you install on two different Windows server, it can have a chance that it can create a different vulnerabilities between you and me. In that case, the same patch, whether it applies or not, we should take responsibility from individually. Like your thing is different and my thing is different. So before implementing that patch, you need to test because your application people designed that application. So after implementing the patch, it can create a different problem within that application. Maybe some service available, some service may not be available. So that is where we always suggest that you keep in a separate staging server. 1 or 2 days you test it. Till then, you try to enable logging. Enable logging, there is no requirement of any programming knowledge. Your Windows itself gives. Your application people, whenever you are designing an application, you say that my application who are accessing from which IP accessing, which browser accessing, such kind of browser. Now anything you in this world, any application, they were collecting the data because they are accessing your application. When they are accessing application, you should know what they are accessing. That's what you need to request when you designing these applications, enabling the log of that application so that you can recognize these things. Once you implement this, till we get patch and till we test that patch, this implementation should be enabled as a system administrator or Windows administrator or application administrator. For that, there is no requirement as much as programming. But you need to insist that this whenever you're designing, this kind of logs should be enabled. Your Windows operating system is there. There are 3 different logs are there: system logs, security logs, and event logs. If any event happens, where that event is related. Security, who are accessing system, in the system itself, the operating system is giving any error, that thing also will come to your place. So that is where these things could be enabled and tested.
Okay, sir. My second question is when you give an example, like you will give a script and my password will keep resetting while I will not be able to access my mail. Okay.
Yes.
So this sort of thing will happen only if I, at first, if I click on some fraudulent email or something that you had sent. Now, you cannot automatically disable my access to my email. I would
No,
have
see,
to.
I know your email ID. Am I right?
Yes.
I'm giving 5 different passwords. What happens? Which is not actual password.
Sir, I want to know. So suppose my
No,
email
no.
has
First
a
answer
password.
me this, then definitely I'll take your question.
Okay.
If you are using an email ID where I know that email ID, I can access from public your email server, and I given
Okay.
5 different passwords. What happens?
Okay. So it will prompt me to change my password.
It locks because in general 99% email systems, if you are giving a 5 wrong password, it locks.
Okay.
Locking means it cannot be accessed even though you have to unlock your account. Let's say example of Gmail, you have to send reset that Gmail by giving your mobile number. By the time if you have given your mobile number attached to that Gmail ID, you can reset, so that password would be, they will send it and they will reset the password because some event has happened. Event is related to your password. It is considered as a security log, so that they insist that you change password.
Okay, so you're saying that you will keep inputting wrong passwords again and again, and I will keep getting logged.
Yes.
Sir, but suppose there is a feature in Gmail now, which by which you can lock which users can access Gmail from which devices. So if I don't enable a device, or if I limit the devices with that can access my Gmail ID, so you won't be able to do this.
Yes, that is what that's exactly right. So you need to enable that feature for your security, such stop such kind of an against the availability to such attacks, denial of service attacks. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
so still I can access, but it is asking that confirmation of to access that device.
Yes.
I cannot give it, so that I cannot give 5 passwords, different passwords, so that
Yes.
your system never lock. So this is where rightly you came that the extra security which we implement for such kind of activities. This was came into the last 2 years only. That previously the people used to simply play this game. Of course, it's not like that. You can create, you can do these things before also. But as many as vulnerabilities comes, and you need to implement these security things one by one. So like initially only ATM card and PIN. People are doing such kind of activities. They were introduced at OTP. They are now introducing some kind of biometrics. So these are the increasing of the security, various security levels.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. So where we start the security? See, anytime when we are discussing about the security, we have to start in a 2 ways. See, right from that, whatever the devices which we are using, the devices could be hardware, and on hardware there are operating systems, there are applications. Am I right? So when it is hardware, we don't have much intervention as an individual who are using that hardware. We can't do anything. What is that interface between hardware and your hardware and the person is the operating system. Operating system you can control, so that you will look about that from anything as an individual, as an organization, what kind of systems are there, what kind of devices are there within the system, or what kind of devices you are using. You have to look about that, who are the interface between you and them. Like if you are using mobile, Android is between you and, because Android is the interface to load your applications and apps, where Android is talking to your hardware. Am I right? So we don't have a direct interface with the hardware. So we only look about that Android security and the application security.